What's up, everyone? This is Chester from Lincoln Park, Club Tattoo, and of course, Gray Days, and I'm happy to announce that on June 23rd at the Marquee Theater in Tempe, Arizona, Gray Days will have our 20th anniversary reunion show. We hope to see you guys there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Peace.
Chester's out on the road and calls me and he says, I think it's time we do another Club Tattoo party. We haven't done one in a few years. And I said, well, that's cool. And he says, and I think we should put Gray Days back together and play that show.
Chester wanted to reunite with Gray Days. He was looking forward to being able to reunite with Gray Days.
Gray Days was a point of the beginning that sent him on a long journey to become a rock star.
Well, I knew he wanted to join a band. I think we all did. He would tell us from the time he was little he was going to grow up and be a rock star. You could ask him, what do you want to be when you grow up? A rock star.
I believe Chester was a sophomore in high school at the age of 15. As soon as he started singing, we were just blown away. Like, when can you start? And he said, I have to go ask my dad.
The world of Chester began when he was 15, and he comes home and he said, well, there's this guy I know, and he wants to start a garage band, and he thinks I can sing.
So his dad and I and Chester sat in their living room and we kind of said, hey, we'd like your son to sing for our band. Is that okay? And his dad had, fired off 50 questions. And then of course it came the father-son exchange of, if you don't have your homework done, I can't let you play in the band. So of course he's promising his dad the world that he's going to do everything so he can do this, because he was really excited to be in a band. Then his dad said, sure, let him give it a try. And then from that day forward, we started rehearsing 3-4 times a week and started getting really serious about it. And then Chester and I developed our friendship from that point.
Chester's kind of a nerd. If you've seen pictures of him, he's skinny, kind of a nerdy looking kid. A little bit picked on at school, and Sean just kind of took him under his wing.
I don't think he and I could have been more different, actually. He's a very loving, funny, hysterical, in-your-face kind of personality. And I think I'm a lot more reserved. The connecting thread was I really felt protective over him. I think he had, there were some bullies at school, and I had heard a couple of these stories early on, and I just felt very protective of him and just wanted him to be like my little brother, and we kind of took that big brother, little brother role. We started Gray Days in 1993. The band ended up breaking up in 1998. In 2003, Chester and I became business partners in Club Tattoo. Fast forward to 2016, Chester's out on the road and calls me and he says, I think it's time we do another Club Tattoo party. We haven't done one in a few years. And I said, well, that's cool. And he says, and I think we should put Gray Days back together and play that show. July of 2017, we were supposed to begin our rehearsals with him after he got off the road. Obviously, July 20th, what happened, and Chester was tragically taken from us.
Believed to have taken his life at his home.
With a song in my soul. I just wanted to tell you how much I love you and how much I miss you.
As soon as he passed, of course it was, oh my God, I lost my friend, oh my God, my friend's wife is now a widow, my friend's kids are now fatherless. There was all these emotions, but there was still part of me that was like, oh my God, and we didn't get to finish what we started together. About 6 or 7 months, I started some other conversations and I said, I really want to finish this album. We're not going to accept mediocrity. We're going to do our friend proud. We're going to make Chester proud, and we're going to make sure that this is something he would have been absolutely elated to put out.
They've made me proud. The first time he sent me a video, or just a tape of Chester, I turned it on and I just sat there and cried. I actually called him and said, before he died, did he re-record this? He's like, no, we just enhanced it. I'm like, I can't believe it.
It's hard to explain what we're doing. Like, I've seen fans say, is there any songs with Chester on it? They think we're doing a new record as Grey Days or something. They don't even, like some of them don't know Chester's singing on it. It's hard to explain how you have a different record from vocals from 20 and 22 years ago.
Everything is backwards, yep. Everything is going from vocals, then we work on the arrangement of the vocals, and then we put the foundation bass and drums behind it.
Everything that we do is viewed through a lens of what would Chester think of this and would he be okay with this?
Quite a thing, huh?
There it is.
Whoa.
Quite a thing.
The range, the power, it sounds like he's in his prime, you know, in his peak, and just, I get chills when I hear his voice on this project, man.
In order for us to bring in somebody, there has to be somebody that either Chester really admired or was influenced or really loved for us to let them in. We're really trying to pick and choose people who really had a connection with Chester.
It's a way to say thank you. We're gonna miss you, and be part of something he was part of is just really an honor to have an opportunity like that.
Tonight they isolated his voice for me, you know, where it's like just him without any instruments, and it's just so fat and such a big, you know, beautiful sound. I love it.
When we were tracking the guitars in the song today, I mean, all of us in the room felt that. I felt like crying in a moment, because it was like, you know, I just had kind of goosebumps, not only from his voice but what he was saying. And I feel like he's still kind of communicating to us through his music.
I had this idea of trying to get Chester's children involved. I knew I could connect those dots for Chester because he had never gotten to record with his kids, and I knew if he was alive, it's something he would have wanted to do.
It's very weird. Like, if you told me even a week ago that I would be here doing this, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Not that I didn't want to, you know, I think it's more of a cathartic experience now.
I have a ton of respect for Sean, and I know that he would just like the family to heal. He wants this to be a part of that healing. He wanted to make this available to them, to help them heal, to help them feel closer to their dad. I really appreciate everything he's done.
But the mindset was really about making sure that we're staying true to the initial vision and what Chester wanted, and making sure that we make him proud and make the people that love him proud.
We put a lot of time and energy into making sure that every little thing was right. I think Chester would be very proud of this album.